Imagine a late summer evening deep in Tennessee where the cicadas drone on in a thick, humid air, and a rickety screen door squeaks against its hinges each time someone steps in or out. In a small shack out in McMinnville, you can picture a little girl, Dorothy Marie Marsh, staring at the starry sky and humming a quiet tune. She doesn't yet know it, but she's on a collision course with music history. She's only a child, one of many siblings crowding around a meager dinner table, but already she has a sense that she's meant for something bigger, something beyond the dusty roads and the nightmares at home. Because little Dorothy, or Dottie, as she'll later be known, is stuck in a grim reality. Her father, Hollis, is sexually abusing her, subjecting her to horrors no child should endure. At 17, she finally gains the courage to speak up, sending him to prison. The moment the cell door slams shut on him, she's free, at least physically. The emotional scars remain, fueling a fierce resolve to not let anyone or anything define her future. For the rest of her days, no matter how many times heartbreak or tragedy come knocking, Dottie West will stand up, dust off her boots, and sing. She's born on October 11th, 1932, a Great Depression baby in a family struggling to keep food on the table. Some nights the crickets outside are louder than the dinner conversation, and in that hush, Dottie's mother hums old country ballads. Even in the midst of poverty and chaos, music seeps into Dottie's soul. That spark of melody is the only bright thread in an otherwise grim tapestry. She clutches that thread with all her might, learning every tune she can from the radio, from local church gatherings, from any guitarist who passes by. While neighbors see a scrappy tomboy gigging frogs for dinner, in her mind, she's on a grand stage somewhere, shining in the glow of stage lights, singing a heartbreak ballad that wrenches tears from every pair of eyes in the audience. People in the neighborhood might shake their heads, thinking she's just daydreaming, but from an early age, Dottie has no illusions about how rough life can be. If anything, that reality only supercharges her ambition. When she's finally rid of her father's presence, she sets her sights on forging a real life for herself. She ends up pursuing a music degree at Tennessee Technological University. Maybe it's a little odd for a girl from a shack to dive into formal education, but she's hungry for it. Hungry to refine her talents and prove that she's not some backwoods girl without a future. During her college years, she meets Bill West, a steel guitarist, who recognizes the glimmer in her eyes. They get married in 1953, not as a grand romance, but more like a partnership. Two dreamers who want to break into the music scene, starting small with local TV gigs in Cleveland, Tennessee. It's gritty work, low pay, uncertain crowds, sometimes no crowd at all, but Dottie's voice commands attention every time. She's not a fluttery soprano or a timid little country singer. Her tone has heft, a sense of heartbreak and hope all tangled up together. By the early 1960s, Bill and Dottie realize that if they want to go big, they have to aim for Nashville. The day they pack their battered car and head for Music City, Dottie's about 29 years old, a mother balancing day jobs and babies. But she's unwavering. The industry in Nashville is notoriously harsh, especially for a woman with no fancy connections. She knocks on door after door, leaving demo tapes, sometimes recorded cheaply with Bill. People at record labels shrug or say they'll keep her tape on file. She grows frustrated, but despair doesn't suit her. She's survived far worse. Finally, in 1963, RCA Victor, specifically through the influence of legendary producer Chet Atkins, signs her. He sees in her a raw sincerity that could cut through the polished fluff dominating radio. In 1964, Dottie releases Here Comes My Baby, a mid-tempo country ballad that holds a subtle storm of emotion in each line. It rises to number 10 on the country charts, a respectable showing for a first big single. More importantly, it nabs her the first ever Grammy Award for Best Female Country Vocal Performance in 1965. The entire industry sits up and takes notice. Who is this woman with the smoky, commanding voice who can convey heartbreak better than some longtime veterans? She's not just another sweet country girl. She's a survivor who's lived every note she sings. The Grammys may be old hat for pop stars, but for women in country back then, it's practically a moon landing. This moment cracks open doors that have long been shut to female artists in Nashville. She joins the Grand Ole Opry in 1964. That stage is the pinnacle of country legitimacy. If you can enthrall the Opry crowd, you've arrived. Standing under the warm lights of the Ryman Auditorium, the Opry's home then, Dottie belts out, "Here Comes My Baby," with trembling emotion. She's not performing a polished act so much as bearing her soul. Her fans get chills. She quickly becomes a staple at the Opry, connecting with the audience in a way that feels personal, like she's confiding heartbreak secrets. Hits come rolling in. "Would You Hold It Against Me?" hits number 1. 5 in 1966, "Paper Mansions," number 8 in 1967. She dips her toes into duets with Jim Reeves, scoring "Love Is No Excuse" at number 7. But Jim's tragic plane crash in 1964 curtails their partnership. Even so, the seeds are planted. Dottie has a gift for duets, an ability to meld voices with a male singer and create a synergy that transcends ordinary radio fare. Her personal life isn't all sunshine. She and Bill West are drifting apart. He struggles with the fact that she's becoming a star, overshadowing his guitar work. They have 4 kids, Shelley, Moggins, Carrie, and Dale, and the tension weighs on them. They divorce in 1972 after almost 2 decades, a sad but perhaps inevitable outcome. Dottie throws herself deeper into her career, maybe partly to distract from heartbreak. She's also forging a new sonic identity. The 1970s see a wave of country-politan pop influences flooding the genre, and she's game to evolve. She writes or co-writes "Country Sunshine" in 1973, a catchy, breezy track that rockets to number 1. 2. She's 41 years old, and this might be the biggest single of her life, except an even bigger opportunity arises when Coca-Cola taps the song for a national jingle. Suddenly, you can't watch TV without hearing Dottie West's sweet, inviting voice singing about how everything's just better with a bit of country sunshine. The campaign is massive. She pockets a tidy sum from it, setting the stage for even more mainstream acceptance. Around the same time, she signs with United Artists and begins exploring a slicker, pop-friendly style. Some old-school fans bemoan this shift, claiming she's losing the gritty heartbreak vibe that made her special. But the results speak for themselves. A Lesson in Leavin in 1980 climbs to number 1. It's feisty, it's sassy, and it's distinctly Dottie, though packaged with a glossier sheen. She's also forging a life-changing partnership with Kenny Rogers, who sees in her a perfect duet partner. They unleash "Every Time Two Fools Collide" in 1978, a mesmerizing fusion of his husky warmth and her crystalline emotion. The track soars to number 1, revitalizing both their careers. They follow with "All I Ever Need Is You" in 1979 and "What Are We Doing in Love" in 1981, each smashing country radio and crossing over to pop. Dottie is no longer just a country singer from McMinnville. She's a mainstream crossover star. They grace variety shows, do joint tours, and command a broad audience enthralled by the interplay of their voices. But under the surface, Dottie's life is a whirlwind. She remarries twice after Bill West, first to Byron Metcalf, a short union from 1973 to 1976, then to Al Winters from 1983 to 1990. Neither marriage endures. She invests in a mansion rumored to cost over $1 million, invests in risky ventures, and showers money on an extravagant lifestyle. She's living out the lavish fantasies she never could have imagined during her impoverished childhood. But the hits start to wane by the mid-1980s. She's in her 50s, and new acts are dominating the charts. The checks shrink, and soon she's drowning in debt. By 1990, the news breaks that she's declared bankruptcy, with over $1 million owed. For fans who see her as the glamorous star in glitzy stage outfits, it's a shock. She's forced to give up her mansion, her prized possessions, everything. The meltdown is public and humiliating. Meanwhile, she's also battling emotional stress, culminating in a 1990 DUI arrest. The tabloids jump on the story. Dottie West, once on top of the world, is found drunk behind the wheel, exclaiming, "I'm too old for this." Even in these darkest days, Dottie's not giving up. She's planning a 1991 comeback album, determined to remind the industry that her voice is still a force to be reckoned with. She's working with younger producers, exploring new songs. It's not too late at 58 to recast herself as a seasoned matriarch of country. Dolly Parton, who once called her a big sister, is cheering her on. Tammy Wynette, an old friend, also supports the notion that Dottie can rise again. Her daughter, Shelley West, who tasted her own success with Jose Cuervo in 1983, stands by her mother's side, urging her not to lose hope. The sense among her circle is that if she can just get the right single out, another wave of success might emerge. Then fate deals the cruelest blow. On August 30th, 1991, a Friday evening, Dottie's car fails en route to an Opry performance. Her 81-year-old neighbor, George Thaxton, offers a ride in his Ford. They head down Interstate 24 in Nashville, presumably at a modest speed of 55 miles per hour. Something goes wrong. The car swerves, strikes a median. Dottie slams against the interior, sustaining catastrophic injuries, including a ruptured spleen and severe liver damage. By the time paramedics reach her, she's conscious but in dire shape. At Vanderbilt Hospital, surgeons fight valiantly, but complications mount. She clings to life for 5 days, passing away on September 4th, 1991. Just like that, one of country's greatest voices is gone. The city that once revered her stands in shock. Thaxton survives, devastated by guilt, but no criminal charges are filed. It's a horrifying accident, not negligence. Fans gather at the hospital in vigil, hoping for a miracle that never comes. Her funeral takes place in McMinnville, the same area where her story began. A circle is closed. The little girl who overcame monstrous adversity and soared to the pinnacle of country music is laid to rest in her hometown soil. The Opry family turns out in force. Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, and other giants pay their respects. Dolly eulogizes her as a fighter who never lost her softness. The fans are inconsolable, remembering how just a few years earlier she had been the queen of duets, the voice that delivered a lesson in Leavin with fiery conviction. Now she's gone. Her planned comeback album remains incomplete. In the immediate aftermath, some worry her legacy may slip away, overshadowed by glitzier or less tragic figures. But the tributes keep coming. The Opry dedicates a special night to her memory, featuring old footage of her performing Here Comes My Baby and Country Sunshine. Younger artists mention her in interviews, citing her as an influence. Shelley West incorporates tributes to her mother in occasional performances. Over time, a deeper appreciation emerges for the complexities in Dottie's life. A woman who overcame sexual abuse, soared to Grammy-winning heights, spiraled financially, yet always exuded warmth and generosity. She's posthumously inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2018, a recognition many deem overdue. but it cements her place among country's immortals. People recall her 63 charted singles, 6 number-one hits, 1 hit, 23 top 10 tracks, and the intangible artistry she brought to each performance. Musicians who collaborated with her, like Steve Werner on We've Got Love in 1986, recount how nurturing she was in the studio, offering tips and encouraging them. She was a star who never forgot her own rough beginnings. So she extended kindness to others, forging their paths in Nashville. Meanwhile, fans who explore her discography find that it's more than just country sunshine or the Kenny Rogers duets. There's a spectrum of heartbreak songs, sassy anthems, and heartfelt ballads that reflect the ups and downs of her life. Some resonate with her earliest RCA recordings, raw and shimmering with potential. Others dig the glitzy pop country era that produced A Lesson in Leavin. Regardless of the style, her voice remains the constant, powerful, slightly husky, with a distinct break that hints at the emotional battles she's endured. In that sense, Dottie West's music is a living diary of a woman who faced unimaginable betrayal from her father, navigated a punishing industry, and still found the courage to stand on stage and bare her soul. Her personal relationships, from Bill West to Byron Metcalf and Al Winters, show a pattern of searching for stability she never had as a child. Each marriage ends for various reasons, from professional jealousy to financial tension. But no matter how many times her heart breaks, she channels it into her artistry. The heartbreak is real, not contrived. Fans see that genuineness, which fosters an unwavering loyalty. Even after the final meltdown, bankruptcy, car repossessions, legal battles, her fans empathize instead of ridiculing her. They recall how she gave them Country Sunshine, a crisp, hopeful tune that made them smile on a tough day, or how her duets with Kenny Rogers introduced them to country music if they'd never been fans before. The goodwill she earned from those years of honest performance can't be erased by a few financial missteps. In 2025, her legend remains. She's part of the essential reading in the story of women in country, alongside Kitty Wells, Patsy Cline, Tammy Wynette, and Dolly Parton. Dolly, for her part, continues to mention Dottie in interviews as a profound influence, highlighting how Dottie's flamboyant stage presence, big wigs, sparkly outfits, paved the way for Dolly's own brand of razzle-dazzle. People occasionally visit her grave in McMinnville, leaving small tokens or notes expressing gratitude for songs that cut to the core. Shelley West is less active now, but occasionally surfaces for special tributes. Social media, ironically, breathes new life into Dottie's old videos, with younger generations discovering her 1970s TV appearances. They're drawn in by her soulful eyes and that confident yet vulnerable stage persona. She never had the bombastic persona of some stars, but she had an aura that said, "I've lived through it all, and I can still sing about it." Critics who re-examine her career might say she didn't have the same unstoppable string of hits as Dolly or Reba, but they can't deny her critical role in bridging the older, raw honky-tonk style with the glossier pop country era of the 1970s and early 80s. The journey from Here Comes My Baby to What Are We Doing in Love is also a microcosm of country music's transformation from rural grit to mainstream crossover. Some might lament that her final years overshadowed her musical achievements, but the real fans know her discography stands on its own. The rest is just a tragic subplot, a reminder that artists aren't immune to money troubles or personal tragedies. For all the heartbreak, Dottie's spirit still beams through every time you press play on her biggest songs. The opening bars of A Lesson in Leavin instantly conjure up an image of a strong, determined woman daring an unfaithful lover to taste regret. Every Time Two Fools Collide is a timeless portrayal of a complicated romance, brought to life by her synergy with Kenny. And Country Sunshine remains an earworm so cheerful that you can almost feel the summer breeze and smell fresh-cut hay. If you watch old footage of her singing these tunes live, you'll see a bright smile, a spark in her eyes, a defiance that says, I might be battered by life, but I'm still here, still singing. Her funeral, which took place right after her death in 1991, was a swirl of tears and heartfelt tributes from the Opry family. Dolly Parton reportedly said something along the lines of, "We lost one of the best," while Kenny Rogers admitted he felt like he'd lost a close family member. The entire Nashville community paused to reflect on how swiftly fate can snatch someone away. The tragedy stung more because it was so mundane. A car breakdown, a helpful neighbor, a short drive to the Opry. She had survived so much adversity, from paternal abuse to financial ruin, only to be taken by a split-second mishap on the highway. That irony lingers, underscoring the fragility of life. Nevertheless, the intangible aura of Dottie West can't be quashed by that sad ending. She stands as a shining testament to resilience. She overcame monstrous childhood trauma, channeled her pain into emotive songs, became the first female country artist to nab a Grammy, championed pop country crossovers, and left behind a legacy of raw emotion that echoes in every tear-jerking ballad or sassy kiss-off track. She's the star who wore flamboyant stage outfits because, as Dolly put it, she believed in that sparkle. She's the star who built a mansion not just for vanity, but because she wanted to taste a slice of the good life she never knew. She's also the star who lost it all but never lost her dignity on stage. Right until the final days, she planned a comeback, refusing to vanish into oblivion. Now, if you happen to be driving the roads near Nashville, maybe late at night, you might think of her. The twang of steel guitar might play in your head, conjuring up Dottie's voice. You might recall how her final ride ended tragically, how her story is both an allegory of success and heartbreak. And if you're a dreamer yourself, someone who has faced adversity, someone who's tasted a shred of success and yearns for more, you might feel a kinship with her. Because if Dottie West's life story says anything, it's that you can soar on the wings of a battered past, find love, lose it, lose yourself, and still rediscover hope, all while belting out a tune that resonates with folks who've never met you but feel they know your soul. That, in the end, is Dottie West's greatest gift to country music, a legacy of fearless vulnerability. She wasn't polished from the start, wasn't guarded by a stable upbringing, wasn't free from slip-ups or regrets. She was painfully human, forging ahead with a shaky hand on the mic and a heart full of big dreams. The music she left behind stands as a testament that no matter how bleak your early chapters, you can still write a triumphant middle. And even if your final pages end abruptly, those middle chapters can inspire generations to come. So if you shuffle through her catalog, be it on a vinyl, a dusty cassette, or a modern streaming playlist, let the heartbreak tinge your ears. Let the unwavering hope sink in, because that's Dottie West. Fragile but fearless, battered but never beaten, and most of all, brimming with a soul that poured out in every note.